Let's further discuss this now with Joe Siracusa. He's a political analyst and professor of global futures and joins me live from Melbourne. Thank you, Professor, for being with us on the program. No deal until there's a deal. That pretty much sums up the meeting, but it was interesting watching the dynamics between the two presidents, with some saying that this meeting has somewhat strengthened Putin's position and stance.
Oh, good morning, Evelyn. Well, yeah, it did strengthen his position. 3.5 years ago, Putin was a wanted man. He still has a warrant for his arrest for the Hague. And President Trump, of course, has always been very clumsy at some of this kind of things. But I have to tell you, Afton, as a long student of diplomatic history, I have to say I give the President of the United States high marks for looking presidential. And I have to give credit to Putin because he got so much accomplished for himself without giving up too much. That is, he's come in out of the cold. He looks respectable. He was received well. He's invited the President of the United States to Moscow, which I'm sure would happen. And look, the alternative to diplomacy is killing each other. We know that in Gaza and all over Africa and places like that. So they're trying. Trump is trying very hard to stop this conflict. Could he have done more? Probably. But he's threatening Putin with these sanctions, which are in the background, of course. He doesn't want to drive India crazy with those secondary sanctions and the like. And of course, the Russians want the sanctions off their back. They want their sovereign monies released from various banks all over Europe. And of course, I think at the end of the day, the President of the United States really doesn't care what Europe says. I mean, Europe's talking a lot about what they're going to do with Trump, but I don't think Trump's that crazy about what they have to say about this. And of course, Zelensky is going to have to deal with this. I mean, I think Zelensky could have had the same deal in Istanbul 3.5 years ago if he hadn't been encouraged by the Biden people to go to war with Russia. Now, to me, also my second field is nuclear weapons. Putin and the President of the United States, Donald Trump, have over 3,000 strategic nuclear weapons. Shorthand for that is they can end civilization in an afternoon. So the idea of seeing them talking and shaking hands and all the rest of it, that does me wonders, right. Because that way we're not going to stumble into some damn tactical nuclear war. But look, this is more than wait and see. I think the president did what he wanted to do. He did as much as he could with the leverage he had. Now it's up to Putin, and I think Putin definitely wants the off-ramp.
Following the meeting, Trump, during an interview with Fox News, said that many of the main issues they've been agreed on. They've kind of lined up an agreement here. And as you mentioned, Zelensky has, for the most part, been sidelined. Do you think that Zelensky is going to have to make concessions by force moving forward?
I think Zelensky is going to have to accept what's on the table for him. I mean, Zelensky has very little leverage here. The Russians have worn the place down. A quarter of the population has gone someplace else. There are, tens of thousands of casualties. Somebody's got to pay the bills. I mean, I think Zelensky's at the very end of his career here. Win or lose, I don't think he can sell this to the Ukrainian people. He is going to lose the Donbass. He is going to lose Crimea. And President Putin will be rewarded this way. On the other hand, the nuclear balance of terror is back in place again, and both parties understand that. Zelensky's time to influence events, I think, are long past. The fact that he's avoided all kinds of negotiations, because Joe Biden steered him away from those kinds of things. So, as I say, I think it's a moment for peace. And I'd like to see President Trump do something here and use that momentum and then go to the Middle East and do the same thing in Gaza and stop the killing. I mean, Trump has, shown his humanity the last month. He said people are dying in Gaza, they're starving and all the rest of it. And he knows the same thing's happening in Ukraine. And a little part of him wants to stop all this by using the power of the United States. But at the end of the day, you've got so much power when you're up against Vladimir Putin and people like Prime Minister Netanyahu. You really have to force the envelope here.
Okay, Professor Joe Siracusa, thank you so much for being with us here on TRT World and sharing that analysis with us.